Bonjour à tous! Bienvenue à ma chaîne YouTube aujourd'hui. Merci d'être ici et bon visionnage. Today on my workbench I have Keith's second QuadraFire brand pellet stove controller. This is a model 230-0120, serial number 51604. This is the second one of two that Keith sent me because he had a problem with his stove, and it turns out that he burnt up the two power transformers, one in each controller. This one also had other issues as well that were resulting of this, so it took me a little longer to get it resolved, but eventually I got everything fixed. So after fixing everything, it's time to do a final test before I return it to Keith. So as you can see, I have the controller connected to my test fixture. My test fixture is made up of a number of items. First is a little green LED here that indicates when the call for heat is on. This is similar to the red light that's at the back of most of the QuadraFire stoves. I have a thermostat, which is identical to a wall-mounted thermostat that you may have in your home. I have a temperature simulator because I don't have a fire here. I need to simulate the temperature of the fire pit, so I use this temperature simulator where I can dial in different temperatures. I have a faceplate that actually mounts an actual auger motor back here. The shaft from the auger motor comes out the front, and I have an X marks the spot on that to show that it's spinning during the video, so you can see it actually spinning. At the same time, there's a light at the back that'll come on. Speaking of those lights, there's 4 of them back there. The first one in white is for the igniter. That will come on when the controller calls for the igniter to come on. The next one in blue is the combustion fan simulator. That's the firebox simulator. In yellow, the auger motor simulator. And at the far end in red, I have the convection or room fan simulator. Just know that for this controller, that light will not come on during testing. The reason for that is because we provide 120 volts from the controller to it, but there's a thermostatic switch inside the stove that controls when it spins and when it doesn't. So we will not see it come on. So we're ready to start testing, so let me apply power, and when we do, because we're simulating a temperature of 61 degrees Fahrenheit for the room, and we're not calling for heat with the thermostat, we're going to have one light come on, and there we have it. We have the combustion fan, that's a burn box fan. It comes on to start evacuating the burn chamber of all the old air or whatever might be in there, and start pulling fresh air into the burn box. So things will stay this way until someone walks into the room and decides that they want the heat to come up a little bit, so they'll turn the thermostat on, and as we do that, we have 2 lights that come on. First, the auger motor in yellow over there is spinning, and you can see it spin over here. You may also hear it in the video. And we have the igniter that's come on. So the auger motor will stay on for approximately 2 minutes in this condition unless things change, unless the temperature changes or we stop calling for heat. Meanwhile, the igniter itself will stay on for approximately 8 minutes. I will say right now that there are 5 timers inside of this box. I checked them all out and they're functioning correctly, so that's all good. But instead of waiting all this time, we're going to go ahead and ramp the temperature up a little bit. As you can see, or may be able to see, I've set the label on here that indicates that the green light, the one over here, will come on at 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and the red LED will come on at 920 degrees Fahrenheit. So as I ramp up the temperature, we'll get the green light to come on and see what happens with the lights. 250. There, we just had the green light come on, and still nothing has really happened back there. We're going to continue increasing until the red light comes on, and then we'll get some serious change happening. So we're looking for 920 or higher. I hope you can see this in the video. We're at 750 right now, 850. There we go, 923, and the light, the igniter, has gone off. So that's basically telling the controller that the fire is at 923 degrees or higher, and we don't need to be powering the igniter anymore. Now we're constantly running because we're calling for heat. We see the little green light here is on, the call for heat light. The auger is driving because with this controller, it's a slow speed auger and it runs full time. It doesn't run on and off as long as you're calling for heat. So this will cause the fire to warm up, to start roaring as we add more pellets into the fire pit. The fire will roar. The stove itself will heat up. the convection fan will turn on because of the heat of the stove body, and it'll blow hot air into the room. And it'll stay this way until the room warms up quite a bit and the thermostat decides, okay, we're warm enough, we don't need any more heat, so it'll turn off the auger motor, and the temperature of the room will slowly start to cool, and the thermostat will notice that, and it'll call for heat one more time. So we'll simulate that. So here's another call for heat. So the auger comes back on, more pellets get pushed into the fire pit. The fire pit will start roaring again because we're at a good temperature. And as it roars, more heat gets thrown into the room warms up, and the thermostat stops calling for heat, and we stop pushing pellets into the fire pit. So that cycle will continue. Push pellets into the fire pit, warm the room up, turn off the thermostat, room cools a little bit, thermostat senses that, so it calls for heat again, back and forth. This will keep happening until either somebody turns off the thermostat or we run out of pellets. So once either one of those things happen, the fire will start cooling a little bit, and we'll lose the red light, and as it cools more and more and more, we'll lose the green light as we get below 200 degrees. There we go. And the exhaust fan will continue running for a while longer to make sure that we exhaust everything out of the firebox and that there's nothing dangerous left in there, and that everything is burnt off in the actual pellets that fell in there. So there we have it, Keith. Your pellet stove is once again fully functional. I had a little bit of trouble with this one. It took me a couple tries to get it going correctly, but finally we did it. So I do want to thank you very much for sending me this controller for repair. Thank you. And for those of you watching this, if you have a pellet stove controller like this one, or a Breckwell, for example, an older analog Breckwell, and you need some service on either one of those, please feel free to contact me. My contact information can be found in a link in the description down below this video. In the meantime, I do hope you'll take a few seconds to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate that very much. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.